And all along, like we've said this before, and actually, just as we're speaking like that, the Safaricom CEO happens to have been around the building. And he pops in.
Fortuitously.
You know? He was just on a stroll down Mombasa Road. He decided to get into Standard Group Center. And then now he finds himself in
the Situation Room.
The Situation Room.
And we find ourselves welcoming him.
Mr. Peter Ndegwa. Karibu sana. Welcome to the Situation Room. And thank you very much for joining us and coming to speak to us. And we really appreciate you popping in and popping by. It's been a couple of months now since you took over.
2 months. I'm in my 3rd month now.
You took over on April Fool's Day.
April 1st.
And so how real? I guess the question then would be how real has the experience?
You still have the job.
First of all, I'm real. I'm real.
We can see you. So we can verify that you actually exist and you're real. Thank you.
Yeah. But I have to say, I didn't imagine that I would be going through onboarding remotely. Especially when you're joining a new organization. I like being, of course, close to people.
Yeah.
But it's been a great time. Safaricom has been involved in supporting the country through this COVID period. So that's for me what I've really loved. Our business is open, has been open since COVID hit, and will continue to be open, including our shops. So we haven't closed.
In fact, when we talk about all the other businesses that are doing well, we start with Safaricom is doing well, and then other businesses are also doing well during COVID. But also, yes, we
are supporting the country.
Safaricom is supporting the country during this period.
And other businesses.
businesses
It would appear that It would appear that everything that seemed to go wrong during COVID, that Safaricom was able to, these holes that we've been talking about, gaps that have been able to fill, Safaricom has been able to fill those gaps. Would you say that that's the situation from your point of view?
Well, I think what I see it as more using technology to support a country in need and to support our customers. So whether that is on fiber, whether that's M-Pesa, driving less cashless or less cash or driving cashless. But we have also seen M-Pesa is what I would call the barometer of what's happening in the economy. When you look at Lipa and M-Pesa, you can see the small businesses are suffering.
Yeah.
You can
already see a reduction.
Yes, you can already see a reduction. So although there is more, less cash being used, the level of economic activity, people can only transfer money that they have. Right. And that's one of the reasons why we said that we are going to give free transactions below 1,000. Free. And we've seen 20 million customers use it during this COVID period. Of course, we are also working with government to transfer money to the vulnerable for free, again, during this COVID period. So, so although, yes, M-Pesa has been used more, the level of activity, economic activity is lower.
And even the small businesses that usually borrow on a daily basis through your M-Pesa platforms, that has also reduced.
Has been stable. You know, you'd expect that loans during this period would spike as people actually come under pressure.
Okay.
But has generally been stable. But remember, our loans are very small loans. They are top-up loans. So they are actually very essential during this period. But what we have also seen is Kenyans like saving. So because of the uncertainty, they don't know what will happen. So we've seen actually withdrawals reduce. You know, you'd expect
from M-Shwari.
Yeah, no, from M-Pesa.
From M-Pesa itself.
Yeah. So in the float itself,
so people are keeping cash.
Yeah, people are keeping cash because they
wallets.
don't know whether they will earn the next month's whatever, and therefore, by keeping cash, they can keep cash to buy food and rent and so on.
Mr. Ndegwa, what has Safaricom done to ensure that they shield their workers from this, the ramifications of COVID?
So the first thing we did, of course, was to make sure that we could get most of our employees to work from home. 75% of our employees are enabled to work from home with all the infrastructure that they need. But our shops have been open. And also because we have engineers who actually go into to install and fix issues, they are also open. So what we have done is to make sure that we follow all the health protocols, make sure the social distancing, gloves, and so on and so forth. So our employees are protected. And also we've supported our employees financially to make sure they are protected during this period. And the support also goes to dealers and agents.
You mentioned that you've supported through your platforms some of the government initiatives to help the vulnerable. Do you have those figures?
No, I don't. I wouldn't speak about the figures because because I don't have them at this stage. But what I can say is that previously people would be supported through physical delivery of food.
Yeah.
But now what we are doing is to make sure that the money goes directly to the person who will benefit. And there is no cost that is associated with delivery.
Is it in tandem with we call it the Harambee Committee that the government set up?
It is a combination of previously people who are designated as vulnerable, but also the new vulnerable. Remember that there are people who have lost jobs. And also, as you know, the COVID board has been set up, which even private sector, including ourselves, have contributed. So that money, again, will go through M-Pesa for free to the people who need food and other essentials.
Right. Peter, you're the first Kenyan at the helm. You're the first Kenyan in this big seat for this big company. There are a lot of expectations, even for people who work under you and also for Kenyans at large. The most, successful company in East Africa and such.
Yes.
What should people be able to expect?
Yes, I am, of course, the first Kenyan, and I salute the two CEOs, former CEOs, Michael Joseph and the late Bob, for steering this organization to be the largest. But we should never forget that Safaricom has been successful because Kenya has supported Safaricom. So my primary objective is actually to make sure that Kenyans, I look after the interests of Kenyans. So M-Pesa has been very successful. We are looking at what is the next M-Pesa. What should we do in education, in health, in agriculture? We have units like DG Farm, which we've set up to support small farmers, or MTBA. How can we scale those so that in 5 years they could be your next M-Pesa? So we are looking for those breakthrough areas that can impact a big part of the population. So at a personal level, I've worked in big organizations and I've run big businesses in Kenya, in West Africa, in Europe. So I know how to run a business. But I think for me, the special thing about Safaricom is that our DNA is about serving Kenyans and making sure that we connect through purpose, connect what we do. Our commercial objectives also serve a social and economic need. And that's one of the reasons. And as we go through the recovery period, for me, one of the big areas I want to focus on is SMEs. How can we support SMEs together with banks and other like-minded institutions so that SMEs come back? Because if SMEs come back, the economy will come back, employment will come back, and the country will be back on track.
We know you were dropping by, and we have to thank you very much for just coming in and giving us those words. Peter Ndegwa, the CEO of Safaricom, we thank you very much for joining us. We want to invite you. Now, this is an official invitation. Everybody is hearing, and we'd like you to say yes so that everybody
can hear.
Yes. Especially, we'd like to have the conversations about, that supporting of business, how Safaricom can plug into the very many other needs and other opportunities that will help people to develop their lives, because that's it. And the way you've put it, I like the way you've just basically said it's about people, it's about coming up with products that will address the needs of the people. The bottom line, I've not heard you saying it's about our shareholders and giving a return to our shareholders and profit to your shareholders. I'm sure you give that now during the AGMs and SGMs, but when you're speaking to the people, it's a very, very good thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant to be here.